Story 1, the Hinge date whose ex liked to watch. I wasn't even planning to go on a date that night. It was one of those board scroll Hinge matches where you swipe yes just because your brain wants to feel something other than existential doom for 5 minutes. His name was Ethan. 30, maybe 31, beard, dimples, and the kind of face that takes harmless looking very seriously. His profile had the usual soft boy bullet points. Dog person. Gym at 6 a.m., but also pizza at 11 p.m. Looking for something real, not just a situationship. A little too polished, maybe, but not alarming. What hooked me was one line in his bio. If we match, I'll take you somewhere that feels like a scene in a movie. Corny? Yes. Effective on a Wednesday night after 3 glasses of wine? Also yes. We met at a bar downtown. Kind of dim, kind of noisy, candles on the tables, the whole, I'm not trying too hard but I totally am, aesthetic. He was nicer in person. Polite, calm, spoke in a soft tone that made you lean in a little to hear him, a trick, I realize now, to pull you closer. He asked questions. Real ones. Not the, so what do you do, interview cycle, but the ones that make you feel seen. What do you collect? What was your favorite age to be? What's the most scared you've ever been? We talked for hours. No red flags. No weird jokes. No oversharing. He even walked me to my Uber like a gentleman. So yeah, when he asked if I wanted to hang out again, at his place this time, I said yes. He lived 10 minutes away. Said he worked for the local police department in admin, not as an officer. Something about that made me feel safer at the time. That's the funny thing about danger, it doesn't always come wrapped in obvious threat. Sometimes it wears a badge, or a soft voice, or the word, trust me. His place was a 1-story house on a quiet street. Lights off except for a warm lamp in the living room. He opened the door immediately, like he'd been standing behind it waiting for me to knock. Inside, everything was too neat. Not tidy, but staged. Like he cleaned around things, not through them. Like the house was lived in by someone who didn't make messes, or someone who had recently erased one. The first thing I noticed was the cereal bowl. A full bowl of cereal sitting on the coffee table. Milk still in it. Spoon still inside. Not soggy yet. Meaning it had been poured less than 10 minutes ago. I hadn't seen him eating. When I asked casually, were you having a late-night snack, he paused, just long enough to register, and said, oh. Yeah. I forgot I made that. But he didn't touch it. Didn't throw it away. Just left it there. Second detail, the back door was unlocked. Not just unlocked, cracked open slightly, like someone had gone through it recently. He shut it, but not all the way. Third detail, no family photos. No traces of someone who lived here, just someone who was here currently. Still, we talked. Sat on the couch. Movie on in the background. Chemistry happening. It was going fine, until he leaned in to kiss me, and that was when I saw it. A figure. Standing in the backyard. Hood up. Face hidden. Just watching through the window. I froze. Ethan didn't notice at first. Then came the sound. Bang bang bang. Someone was pounding on the back door. Not knocking. Pounding. I jumped and backed away, but he didn't. He didn't look scared. Didn't grab a weapon. Didn't call for help. He just sighed. Like he'd been expecting it. Then he said, dead calm. It's fine. That's just my ex. She gets like this sometimes. I stared at him like he'd just spoken another language. Your ex? Why is she here? Why is she trying to get in? He shrugged. She likes to watch. That sentence didn't sound like a joke. It sounded like a warning delivered too late. I reached for my phone immediately. He noticed, and that was the first time his face changed. The softness dropped. The polite tone disappeared. He said, quietly but firmly. You don't have to go. She'll leave when she gets bored. Like I was the dramatic one. Like I was being rude for objecting to a hooded stranger banging on the door. The pounding got louder. More frantic. Like she was trying the handle, testing it. I stood up. Grabbed my bag. Didn't ask for permission. I'm leaving. He didn't move to stop me. Not physically. But he said one more thing, and I still remember the exact tone. I wouldn't go out there if I were you. Not, it's dangerous. Not, she might hurt you. Just, I wouldn't. I walked anyway. Fast. Straight to the Uber I had already ordered the second I saw the hoodie. The driver unlocked the door before I even touched the handle. I got in, slammed the door, and said, "Drive? Please? Just go." As we pulled away, I looked back. The hooded figure was now standing in the middle of the yard, watching the car leave. And Ethan? He was standing beside her. No anger. No panic. Just standing. Like they were working together. Like they'd done this before. The next morning, I tried to look him up. No LinkedIn. No Facebook. No traces of employment at the police department. The phone number he gave me? A texting app. The address? A rental property under a different name. The real gut punch? His Hinge profile disappeared. Not unmatched. Not paused. Deleted. Like he vanished. I filed a report anyway. Told them everything, the serial, the unlocked door, the figure outside, the banging, the "she likes to watch" line. The officer told me, very gently, that the scenario matched several known setups. Luring robbery attempts. Home invasion by duo, one distracts, one attacks. Cases where the ex was actually an accomplice. Or worse, filming non-consensual scenarios for private groups. For months later, a detective called me back. A man matching his description had been reported in 3 different states. Same pattern. Same charm. Same rented houses. Same ex who shows up. Same sudden disappearance. He never used the same name twice. I lock my doors now. I check the yard before opening blinds. I don't go to men's houses anymore, ever. And I deleted every dating app on my phone. There's scared, and then there's realizing you almost ended up in the kind of video people whisper about online but never, ever want to believe is real. So to the man who called himself Ethan. And the hooded girl who was never an ex. Let's not meet. Story 2, the woman who watched me sleep. I don't remember the first night it happened. I only remember the first night I realized it was happening. I had just moved into a small 1-bedroom apartment in a quiet part of town. After everything that happened in the previous places I'd lived, the man in the crawl space, the stranger in the basement, the woman in the vents, I wanted silence. I wanted normalcy. I didn't even care that the building was old. Old meant settled. Old meant predictable. Old meant no surprises. Or at least, I thought it did. For the first few nights, everything felt fine. I unpacked slowly, cooked simple meals, and tried to convince my brain that this time, in this place, nothing was going to follow me. But on the 4th or 5th night, I woke up with that sensation. You know the one, the kind that crawls across the back of your neck before your eyes are even open. Like you're not alone. Like someone's eyes are already on you. I told myself it was PTSD. A leftover reflex from everything I've survived. I lay still, listening for any sound, breathing, footsteps, movement. Nothing. Just the refrigerator hum and the faint tick of the ceiling fan. So I rolled over and forced myself back to sleep. But the feeling didn't go away. It happened again the next night. And the next. That sense of being watched, without sound, without proof, without anything to point at. Just presence. And it always happened between 2 o'clock and 4 a.m. Every time. I told myself it was my mind playing tricks on me. I'd been through too much to ever fully relax. Maybe this was just the cost of survival, eternal vigilance. But then things started shifting. And I don't mean paranoia. I mean objects. It started small. One morning, I woke up and the bedroom door was open. That wouldn't be strange for most people, but I close it every night. Not just out of habit, but out of instinct. I've lived too many places where closed meant safe, and open meant someone was here. I tried to explain it away. Maybe I got up half asleep to use the bathroom. Maybe I forgot. Maybe I was overthinking it. But then it happened again. And again. So I started consciously tracking it. I would say out loud, before bed, "Door is closed." I'd even record a video on my phone just to be sure I wasn't imagining that I closed it. But every morning, no matter what, the door was slightly open. Just enough for someone to look through. Not fully. Not obviously. Just slightly ajar. That was the first time I felt a cold, quiet dread settle in my stomach. But the next detail was worse. One morning, I woke up to see my phone moved from where I left it charging. Not far, just a few inches to the left. Then a week later, I woke up and the bedroom blinds were half open. I never sleep with them open. I don't like the feeling of being exposed. But for them to be open from the inside? Someone had to be in the room. That was the moment the thought planted itself, the thought I didn't want to water. Someone is coming into my room while I sleep. I checked for forced entry. Nothing. I checked the windows. Locked. I checked under the bed, inside the closet, even behind the bathroom cabinet. Nothing. But the feeling got stronger. And then came the night I woke up, not from fear, not from movement, but from breathing. Not mine. A second source. Soft. Slow. Close. I didn't move. I didn't open my eyes. I just listened. It sounded like someone breathing through a narrow space, like air being pulled through a small opening. Deliberate. Controlled. It wasn't coming from the hallway. It wasn't coming from inside the room. It was coming from behind the headboard. Or rather, inside the wall. And that's when the pattern finally clicked. The open door. The adjusted blinds. The moved objects. Someone wasn't breaking in. Someone was already inside the apartment. Through a hidden access point. Through a wall cavity. Through something I hadn't discovered. Someone had been entering my bedroom in the middle of the night, not to steal, not to hurt me, but just to watch me sleep. And I hadn't even found where she was coming from yet. Once I heard the breathing inside the wall, I couldn't hear it. I stayed frozen until it stopped, not slowly, not naturally, but instantly, like someone held their breath because they realized I was awake. That was the night I stopped pretending I was imagining things. The next morning, I pulled the bed forward for the first time. Not just a few inches, I dragged it completely away from the wall. And there it was. A rectangular panel. Same color paint as the wall. Same texture. Flush. Invisible unless you were looking for it. It wasn't a normal maintenance panel, there were faint scratch marks around the edges. And the bottom section had discoloration, like it had been touched, often. I crouched closer and put my ear against it. Nothing. But now that I was looking for it, I saw something else. Dust displacement. The kind you don't notice when you're not looking, but the kind that's obvious when someone has been there. That's when the truth finally hit me. She wasn't coming into the apartment. She was already inside the building structure. Somewhere in the walls. Somewhere in the crawl spaces. Somewhere behind me at night. The panel wasn't even screwed in, it was wedged in place. Whoever was using it needed to remove it silently, frequently, and without tools. And she had. Hundreds of times, probably. I didn't open it then. I couldn't. I was afraid of seeing an eye. A hand. a face, anything. But I needed proof. So I bought a motion-activated camera the same day. Not a regular one, one of those cheap, tiny ones people use for baby monitors and Airbnb paranoia. I hid it inside a stack of books on the dresser, lens pointed at the bed and the wall. That night, I forced myself to sleep. Or at least pretend to. Every sound felt like a threat. Every shift in the air felt like someone moving. But I stayed still. I woke up around 4:10 a.m. and glanced at the door. Open. Just like always. She had been here. My hands were shaking as I grabbed the phone and checked the camera feed. And there she was. At 3:27 a.m., the wall panel slid open in total silence, like it had been opened 1,000 times before. A hand appeared first. Then a head. A woman. Thin. Hair unwashed. Skin pale and stretched tight like she hadn't seen daylight in weeks, maybe months. Eyes wide. Not blinking. Not frantic. Just watching. She crawled out of the wall on her elbows, slowly, like she practiced moving without sound. She didn't walk to the bed. She crawled. She got within 3 feet of me and just sat there. Knees tucked underneath her. Head tilted slightly. Breathing slow. Watching my face like she was memorizing it. She didn't touch me. She didn't speak. She didn't steal. She just stared at my sleeping body for over 6 minutes. Like I was a movie. Like I was hers. And then just as quietly, she backed away, returned to the wall, slipped inside, and pulled the panel closed. Like she was going home. I don't remember what I felt first, anger, terror, nausea. All I knew was that the apartment was no longer a place I could stay another second. But I made one mistake. Instead of leaving immediately, I called the police. And waiting for them turned the longest 20 minutes of my life into something I'll never get out of my head. Because while I was pacing the living room, the panel behind the bed made a sound. Not loud. Just a quiet, deliberate shift. She was still in there. She heard the call. She knew I knew. And for the first time, she made noise on purpose. A slow dragging sound, like fingertips running across the inside of the wall. Then stillness. She was listening to me breathe. I grabbed my keys and ran outside. I didn't care if the cops thought I was crazy, I didn't care if anyone stared, I just needed to be out. When the police arrived, they didn't believe me until they opened the panel. Behind it wasn't a simple crawl space. It was a whole network of them, old access tunnels from when the building was first built. The kind no tenant was ever supposed to know existed. They found food wrappers, water bottles, a blanket, and a small notebook filled with handwritten notes in a shaky, obsessive scrawl. Most of them were just dates and times. But some were personal. He sleeps on his right side first. He talks in his sleep sometimes. He dreams a lot, his eyes move. He looks sad even when he's relaxed. I think he's lonely. One note was dated the day I moved in. New one. Better than the last. They never found her. Not in the tunnels. Not in the building. Not anywhere. No signs of forced entry. No fingerprints. No ID. Nothing. Like she dissolved back into the walls the second she realized she'd been exposed. I moved out that same night. I didn't pack anything except my wallet and the clothes I was wearing. I didn't even go back for the camera. I couldn't. Because the worst part wasn't the footage. It was knowing that she had probably been doing this long before I ever noticed. Maybe from the very first night. Maybe before I even moved in. Maybe she watched the apartment before I signed the lease. Maybe she watched the previous tenant. Maybe she watched dozens of people. And maybe she still does. Somewhere else. Right now. I sleep with the lights on now. Doesn't matter where I live. Doesn't matter if the building is new. Doesn't matter if I drill the walls, seal the vents, barricade the doors. Darkness isn't the problem. It's the idea that someone might be watching me in it. I still wake up at 3:27 a.m. sometimes, the exact time she entered the room on the footage. Like my body remembers even when my mind tries not to. I can't have the bed against the wall anymore. I can't sleep with the door open. I can't close my eyes unless I know, really know, that everything around me is solid, sealed, and breachable. But I don't think I'll ever fully believe that again. Because now I understand something most people never have to think about. Walls aren't barriers. They are hiding places. And some people don't need to break into your home to get inside it. Some people are already there. Waiting. Breathing. Watching. Right behind you. Just out of sight. Let's not meet. Story 3, The Stranger Who Saved Me from Being Drugged. I was 19 when this happened. Old enough to think I understood danger, young enough to believe I'd know if something was wrong. I didn't. Not until someone else pointed it out for me, and by then, it was seconds away from being too late. It started with a Tinder match. His name on the app was Evan. 22, pre-med student into hiking, dogs, late-night ramen. His profile was exactly the safe, clean, not a creep type you want to swipe right on. No shirtless gym selfies. No dead fish photos. No, just ask smirking face, bio nonsense. He even had a picture volunteering at an animal shelter. It didn't feel like matching with a stranger. It felt like matching with the idea of a safe person. We talked for a week before meeting. Voice messages, not just texting. He had a calm voice. Soft-spoken. A little shy, which I liked. He didn't push for nudes. Didn't ask anything weird. Just normal, easy conversation. He suggested getting drinks at a small bar near campus, chill, not too loud, not too crowded. Safe. That word kept circling my brain like a fake promise. Safe. I should mention, I had rules. I always told a friend where I was going, always shared my location, always kept my first drink sealed and in my hand, and never let a guy pick me up. And I did all of that, except the first drink rule. Because he ordered for me. And I let him. I didn't even think twice. He said, "You have to try their house sangria, it's insane," and I smiled and said okay. If anything, I thought it was cute that he remembered I said I liked sweeter drinks. The glass came to the table already filled. Already open. Already in front of me. That was the first rule broken. I didn't even notice. Because he was smiling, and he seemed harmless, and the world teaches girls to be polite before it teaches us to be alive. I took the first sip. Nothing tasted weird. We talked. We laughed. We swapped college horror stories. I was comfortable, too comfortable. Maybe 10 minutes in, I started to feel foggy. Not drunk. Not tipsy. Just slowed. Like someone dimmed the lights inside my brain. I remember blinking more than usual. I remember losing track of part of a sentence halfway through speaking it. I remember Evan watching me a little too closely, not with concern, but calculation. That was the first time I felt that heavy, instinctual wrong. Not fear. Instinct. Like a voice inside me whispered, "Pay attention. Something's off." But I ignored it. Because girls are trained to doubt that voice. And then he did something so small, it should have been nothing. He said, "Your drink's melting, want me to get you a fresh one?" And before I could answer, he picked up my glass. That was when a stranger's voice cut through the noise behind me. "Hey. I wouldn't drink that if I were you." I turned. A woman at the bar, early 30s, brown hair in a messy bun, holding a beer she hadn't touched. Eyes locked on mine. Not looking at him. Not smiling. "You didn't watch it the whole time, right?" she said. I blinked. "What?" She didn't repeat herself. She didn't soften. She just looked at me like she already knew the truth of what was happening and was waiting for me to understand it. Evan laughed. Too quickly. She's just drunk. We're good. The woman didn't laugh. She's not drunk. She's been drugged. Silence. My heart didn't drop to my stomach. It froze in my throat. Because the second she said it, my body knew she was right. The fog. The weird lag. The missing pieces in my memory. I tried to stand and my legs barely obeyed. That was when I saw it, the shift in his face. Evan didn't look shocked. Or hurt. Or confused. He looked caught. Like someone yanked the mask off too early. The woman came over, fast and firm and unshakable. She put one hand on my arm and one between us, like a shield. She's leaving. You're not. He didn't argue. He didn't apologize. He just watched. Cold. Silent. Waiting. Like he was deciding whether to fight or fold. The bartender came over. Someone else stood up. A chain reaction of awareness. Suddenly I wasn't a girl on a date, I was a girl being removed from danger. That was the moment I realized something horrifying. He didn't run. He waited to see if the drug would kick in first. That's not panic. That's someone who's done this before. The woman walked me outside. Didn't touch me more than needed. Didn't ask me accusing questions. Just stayed close, shoulder to shoulder, while I tried to keep my brain from dissolving. You're going to feel worse in a minute, she said. That's normal. Just breathe. She wasn't guessing. She knew. She got me into an Uber she called on her phone, not mine, not his, and before I left, she leaned in and said, "He didn't slip it in while you were gone. He slipped it in before you ever touched the glass." I stared at her. "How did you know?" She took a second, then said the sentence that still haunts me. "Because I've had it happen to me. And he watched your drink like he was waiting for it to hit." I think I tried to thank her. I don't remember what I said. The drug was hitting harder now. Vision blurring. Words separating. My body no longer fully mine. She didn't give me her name. She didn't ask for mine. She didn't want credit. She just said, "Don't go home alone tonight. And don't ever think this was a one-time thing. Guys like him don't start with you, they get caught with you." The Uber door closed. That was the last time I saw her. I woke up 8 hours later with a migraine, a sore throat, and the kind of fear that sinks into your bones, not your thoughts. My phone had 12 missed texts from him. "Hey, you okay? You just left?" It wasn't what she said. "Can we talk?" I think there was a misunderstanding. I'm actually a really good guy. And the one that made my blood run cold. Next time don't ruin a good thing by listening to strangers. Except I did listen. And that's the only reason I'm still here. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the girl lying on the bathroom floor, skin gray, arms slack, eyes open and staring at nothing. I kept replaying it over and over. The way she was still breathing, but barely. The way the guy at the bar had smiled like he'd just done something routine. The way the stranger, my stranger, had dropped everything just to get me away. My brain kept coming back to one thing. He knew what was happening before I did. And that terrified me. Not in the "maybe he was involved" way. But in the "how many times has he seen this before" way. When the sun finally rose, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Stranger, you didn't drink anything else after you left, did you?" I stared at the message for a long time before typing back. "Emmy, no. Just water. I'm fine. Thank you again. I don't even know your name." A few minutes passed. "Stranger, names aren't important. Just stay aware. Last night wasn't random. That guy watched you the whole time." Something about the way he phrased it made my blood freeze. I asked what he meant, and he responded almost instantly. "Stranger, you were targeted. It wasn't just an opportunity. Girls don't get drugged in under 10 minutes by accident. Suddenly I remembered the first time I saw the guy. He was already looking at me before I ever walked to the bar. Before I could respond, another message popped up. Stranger, don't go back to that bar. Not even during the day. My pulse was pounding now. Emmy, why? His reply was longer this time. Stranger. Bars don't care. They won't warn you. They won't ban him. They won't change anything. They clean up the vomit, move the body if someone collapses, call a lift if she can still walk, and pretend nothing happened. The guy who drugged you? He's done it before. He'll do it again. Probably tonight. I sat there shaking. He was right. Nobody at the bar reacted. Nobody called for help. Nobody even looked surprised. That sick, smiling man walked away like he owned the place. Then, stranger, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm telling you the truth other people won't. That girl didn't look like a person to them. She looked like a problem. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely read. Emmy, is she okay? The girl in the bathroom? A much longer pause. Then, stranger, I don't know. I didn't stay to find out. I've seen the ending too many times. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Later that afternoon, I searched for local hospital reports, police scanners, anything. Nothing. No news story. No woman hospitalized. No incident at local bar. Like it never happened. Like she never existed. And I kept thinking, that could have been me. A few days passed. I jumped every time I heard footsteps behind me. I used a different route home every day. I never drank anything I didn't open myself. I started locking my bedroom door from the inside. But the worst part wasn't the fear. It was the silence. There was no news. No arrests. No warnings. Life moved on. Except mine. Then one night, out of nowhere, I got another message. Stranger, you're not the only one he followed home. I stared at it, my stomach dropping. Emmy, what do you mean? How do you know that? Stranger, you're not the first girl he watched. Just the first one who didn't drink the rest of her glass. Then another message. Stranger, this isn't about one night at a bar. It's about someone who hunts in public because he knows nobody will stop him. For a long time, neither of us typed anything. Then, stranger, he saw me pull you away. That means he knows I interfered. So if he thinks he lost control of something he planned, he'll try again. I felt the air leave my lungs. Emmy, try again with WHO? Me? No response. For 10 full minutes, nothing. Then, stranger, listen carefully. You need to act like nothing happened. Don't search him. Don't ask around. Don't go back there. He's not stupid. If he thinks you're aware, you stop being a target and start being a threat. Stranger, and men like him don't leave threats alive. That's when I realized. The stranger wasn't being cryptic. He was trying to keep me alive. You'd think the story ends there. Girl gets saved, goes home, learns a lesson, stays safe forever. But no. Because 2 nights later, I got a video. No message. Just a video file. I almost didn't open it. I wish I hadn't. It was security footage. Grainy. Silent. From outside what looked like an apartment building. Just a normal night scene, until the man from the bar walked into frame. He wasn't alone. He had his arm around a woman who was clearly barely conscious, her head hanging, knees weak, stumbling as he guided her inside. The door shut behind them. The clip ended. I sat there staring at the screen, shaking, waiting for something, anything, after it. Finally, a text. Stranger, that was filmed last week. Different city. Same guy. Then. Stranger, do you understand now why I stepped in? I must have typed and erased 10 different responses. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to feel. Then one last message. Stranger, you weren't lucky that I was there. You were lucky that I noticed you first. I asked who he really was. Why he was even there that night. Why he cared. He never answered. The typing bubble appeared. Then disappeared. Then nothing. He was just gone. It's been 3 months now. I don't go to bars anymore. I don't meet strangers alone. I don't take drinks I didn't watch being poured. I don't care if people call me paranoid. Because I know what could have happened. Or worse. I know what did happen to someone else. Sometimes I wonder if the girl from the bathroom survived. Sometimes I look up news stories from other cities, hoping I won't see another girl found unresponsive. Sometimes I think about the stranger, and whether he's still watching people the way he watched me. And sometimes I see a man in a crowd who looks a little too familiar. And I start shaking all over again. Because the scariest part isn't that I was almost drugged. It's that he never got caught. He's still out there. Still smiling. Still hunting. And I was just one night. One drink. One blink. Away from disappearing like I never existed. So to the man who drugged that drink. And to the stranger who stopped him. Let's not meet.